Good morning, guys, from another beautiful day here in Mexico City. This is a big city, there's a lot of things to do, and today we are going to explore what's sort of known as the Central Park of Mexico City. And no, I'm not talking about Alameda Central, this is Chapultepec. Okay, so what exactly is Chapultepec? Well, Chapultepec is actually, the full name is the Bosque de Chapultepec, which means it's the forest of Chapultepec. It's so big that it's not even a park. They've just given it a name as a forest. Now, Chapultepec is divided into 3 sections. You've got section 1, section 2, section 3. Section 1 is the farthest east, and section 3 is the farthest west. There's a lot of things to do in Chapultepec. It's a really big area. It's double the size of Central Park in New York City. So just imagine for yourself how big it is. It's easily gonna take you a day to go around Chapultepec and see everything. So that's exactly what we're gonna do today. Now, to get to Chapultepec is actually really easy here in Mexico City. You've got a couple of options. First, you've got the metro station. There's literally a subway station called Chapultepec, which brings you right to the heart of Chapultepec, and from there you can walk straight into the forest. Second way, of course, is bus. You've got tons and tons of buses. Right behind me you can see the bus station of Chapultepec. That will bring you straight to the same place again here in the forest. And of course you can always get an Uber around, but that's the more expensive option, but it's super easy to get here. And you can see the park is right behind me. We've made it into the Bosque of Chapultepec. This is section 1, which is the easternmost section of Chapultepec, the forest of Chapultepec. And we were greeted by this huge statue of the independence movement and all of that. But the first stop we're going to try and go to is the Castle of Chapultepec. This is something that's like supposed to be a landmark building here in Mexico City. So let's go see if we can go inside today. Well, unfortunately, the main thing I wanted to see, the Castle of Chapultepec, is closed today. Turns out they're closed. They're open only on Tuesday until Saturday. So if you come Sunday or Monday, they're not going to be open, which Google never updates. So we're going to come back to this castle another time. You'll see it in another video. But Chapultepec is still a really big forest. There's still a lot to do. So we're going to explore the other parts of Chapultepec. Now, the forest of Chapultepec is a very big area, so obviously, without surprise, you're gonna be asking, can I get food and drink in the park? Because, you know, it's a very big area, and the answer is yes. And it's not just any sort of food and drink. There are like literal restaurants, an entire row of restaurants here. Food, drink, whatever you want, you've got it here. They've made it super easy, super accessible for everyone. I'm not sure about the prices. I think it might be a little bit pricey because you're inside the park. But definitely, if you're hungry here, there are options available. Now, surprisingly enough, here in the center of Chapultepec, section 1, there is a Canadian totem pole. This was donated by the government of Canada in 1960 to celebrate the 150-year anniversary of the Mexican independence in 1810. It's a nice totem pole. It's just like right here in section 1 of Chapultepec. And this entire area is just really quiet. You've got locals here hanging out, just enjoying the sun It's a nice area to be, but I think we are on the border of section 1. So we're gonna leave section 1 and we're gonna officially enter section 2. Let's go. Okay, turns out there's one more thing to do here in section 1 of Chapultepec. And interestingly enough, I didn't even know this place existed, but turns out all the former ex-presidents of Mexico used to live in this one place called Los Pinos. We're currently in the walkway heading there, but they've got strict military security here, so definitely not flying my drone here. They've got military police officers back there checking everybody in, so it should be interesting, but let's go see what's actually inside. Just entered Los Pinos, and this is the area, this is sort of like the garden area for the ex-presidents that used to live in Mexico. But this, as you can see, there's a whole walkway full of all the statues of all the former presidents of Mexico. This one here is President Lázaro Cárdenas, who was president from 1934 to 1940. And further on down, you'll see a lot more presidents along the way who have lived here and who have been ex-presidents of Mexico. But man, this is probably the most interesting thing I've seen today so far. Alright, so that building right behind me is kind of like the former White House of Mexico. They've got the desk, the presidential desk. They've got a lot of artwork that was installed over time by the different presidents of Mexico. It's a really nice house, but you can only see like the beginning, like 3 rooms of it. They currently have a huge band playing in there. It's really, really loud, and there's a lot of people. But I'm surprised that they've actually opened this up to the public and it's completely free. That to me is very, very shocking, but you know, it is an interesting place to walk around. There are other houses I think you can look at from other presidents, but I think we're gonna head on and continue moving. And just like that, we've crossed the highway and we finally made it to section 2 of the Forest of Chapultepec. Well, if there's one reason to come to section 2 of Chapultepec, it's right here. There's like a little dog park and all these dogs are just jumping into the water and swimming, and it's so cute. It's, oh my gosh, this is amazing. But yeah, this is like the main lake here within Chapultepec section 2, and if you come here, come and play with the dogs. As you're walking through section 2 of Chapultepec, you'll realize that there's this sort of like area where water can flow through, and it's really important that you understand why that's the case, because these canals were not new. These were built by the ancient Aztecs when they had the city of Tenochtitlan. This entire city is built over a lake, so there was always water. They had to build canals and everything. Now what they did is they sort of renovated it, but you can see right behind me there's a fountain. This is a very famous fountain here in Chapultepec, and all these waterways connect to each other because that's how the Aztecs had built the city. And the park basically displays that pretty clearly for you. You can see the waterways running. So when it rains in Mexico City, there's an effective drainage system that makes it so that the rain doesn't just stay on the streets. And personally, I can tell you that that is the case, because it rained very heavily yesterday, and the rain was not as bad as it was in Guadalajara because it managed to drain away pretty quickly. That's what's really impressive about this place, and you can really see that here in section 2. Now, because section 2 is a little bit farther away from the center of town and it's much bigger than section 1, you actually see less people here, and usually the people who do come here are locals. They're people who live here in Mexico City. They're not usually tourists. Tourists usually stay in the section 1 zone. So if you want to get a good feel of what real life here in Mexico City is like, section 2 is highly recommended. But what we're going to do now is we've come to the end of section 2, and we're going to continue walking on to the next section of Chapultepec. Alright guys, we've made it to Chapultepec section 3, but here's why I'm really here. there is an abandoned water park right here in Chapultepec Section 3 that is sort of hidden away. And we crept under a gate in here. We're finally inside. You can see all this graffiti here, and oh my god, it's pretty stunning. We're gonna walk around quietly. There are some workers, I think they're doing some construction, so we're gonna try and avoid them and see how far we can go before we get caught. Okay, we've been around here for about, I want to say 15 minutes. We still haven't got caught, so we're gonna continue moving forward into the water park to see what other parts. Right now we're just at the entrance area. There's like, I think this is where the bathrooms are. You can tell like these are showers and sinks there. So people will come here and change before they go into the water park. So now we're gonna see how far into the water park we can actually go. You can tell this is a water park. Right behind me, you've got like a stadium. I think in the past maybe they'd have some animals, maybe like a seal or a sea lion here flopping around, you know, for like a sort of show. But it's beautiful because it's just completely abandoned, filled with graffiti. It's a really interesting vibe. I haven't got caught yet. We're gonna continue exploring and hopefully we can see the entire water park while we're here. All right, well, we got caught, but we kind of didn't get caught. A cop saw me, came up and told me that actually this section is actually open. That section isn't. So where we were earlier with the initial bathrooms, that section is private because they're currently working there. But like the auditorium and everything, that's actually open. So you can come and explore it and it's, you know, completely free and open. So that's pretty interesting. So we kind of got caught, but we didn't get caught. So we're gonna continue exploring this area. Alright, well the main sign that you've come to Chapultepec Section 3 is when you hit this theater right here. This is Theater Alfonso Reyes. But compared to all the other theaters we've seen in Section 1 and 2, it's pretty clear that this is unkept. Like, grass is growing everywhere, there's leaves everywhere. It seems like nobody has cleaned it for maybe a year. And I think that's the overall vibe from just Section 3 in general, that nobody really comes here, nobody cleans this place. It's just kind of left to nature, which is interesting if that's what you are looking for here in Mexico City. Alright, well as I mentioned, Section 3 of Chapultepec is the third and final section of Chapultepec, which means that our day in Chapultepec has come to an end. Let's talk about Chapultepec. Is it worth it in your itinerary? And I think that it very much depends on, as usual, what you're looking for, and also which section. As you can probably tell, Chapultepec Section 1 is super touristy. It's like Central Park, New York. Most of the people there are all tourists. You've got really nice like food stands, you've got restaurants, you've got play areas. It's just super developed, super touristy. I mean, you go there, there's the Castle of Chapultepec, which we didn't visit today because it was closed. But obviously you've also got the presidential palace, the former presidential palaces, also known as Los Pinos. And it's just an area that to me is really touristy, but it's also really pretty. So it very much depends on if that is what you're looking for. Section 2 Chapultepec, as you can probably tell, is a little bit less touristy. It's a lot more local. You have local people here from Mexico City, you know, bringing their dogs to the water park to go and swim in the lake. You have local Mexicans there, and yes, you still have the food stands, but it's not as many as there were in Section 1. And by the time you get to Section 3, well, Section 3 is basically a forest. It doesn't even feel like Mexico City anymore. You can't see the skyscrapers anymore. The trees are tall, and it's sort of just left the way it is. A lot of these places are abandoned. Nobody really cleans up this place, so it just sort of turns into the jungle of its own. So Chapultepec Section 1, 2, and 3 are really completely different sections, although they're all Chapultepec. And I think that depending on which section you go to, you're gonna have a different impression of Chapultepec. Anyways, the sun hasn't set, but at this point I'm gonna go back into the center, and that's gonna take a long time. And by that point, the sun will probably have set. So I'm gonna end the video here. I hope you guys enjoyed this adventure into Chapultepec today. It's really interesting. I mean, all the 3 different sections are really just completely different. So do keep that in mind when you're thinking about going to Chapultepec. It's been an absolutely amazing day. There hasn't been any rain, but there are rain clouds coming, so I'm gonna try and get out of here as soon as I can. And I'll see you guys on the next food and travel video here from Mexico. All right, that's it for today. I'll see you guys on the next one. Bye, guys.